It's the Five Stones Radio Show with your hosts, Raymond the Real Estate Monkey Modulin and Colin Hedegaard. Sit back, relax, try to survive. Here comes the Five Stones Radio Show.
So welcome to the this week's version of the Five Stones Radio Show, YouTube version.
Yes.
I'm Raymond Modulin, and
I'm Joe Trester.
Today we are sans Colin, but that's okay. I think we can handle what we're going to talk about. Today's topic, I want to talk a little bit about the AI. The two most overused letters in the alphabet right now, because everything is AI this, AI that. And I guess I'm having a little problem with the actual term itself because I don't think it's intelligent.
No, I agree. I don't think it's intelligent at all.
I don't think it's actually thinking like the intent is to be. I believe it's mainly just scraping data or amalgamating data from other sources and spitting it out.
I agree thoroughly. I think when we hear AI used together, our brain goes to like the movie iRobot or the movie Artificial Intelligence or Terminator, where these things are sentient and are capable of their own.
Yeah, we do not have that ability to be
not at all
yet. So the question, there's several questions that come up. Specifically, as you guys know, we are in the real estate realm, both in the education, the financing, and the brokerage. In the education world, right now, AI seems to be good in creating content. But my question is, where's that content coming from based upon what we just said? It's not thinking that content up.
I think, as we were discussing earlier, that what it is traditionally, if you went to a search engine and you put in a query, you're going to get almost an infinite number of pages related to that you have to go through and you have to figure out. I think what this is doing is you ask that, quote, AI the question, and it grabs information from all of those and compiles it into one succinct form for you.
Right.
So it's like Google on crack, more than it's actually an AI.
So then the question is it really amalgamating a bunch of answers, or is it actually plagiarizing someone else's content that could be out there already?
Well, given the lack of us understanding the root of the programming, it'd be awful difficult to tell. But I will tell you, when I go back into my years in the classroom as a teacher, you can't plagiarize a fact. 2 + 2 = 4, and you can't plagiarize that. But you can plagiarize opinion. So it really comes down to the question or what the information is that you're looking for. And what you're getting back.
Like, we've used it for content already for a couple of different test runs. One being the outline for the real estate brokers course in Florida.
Yes.
That is a fact because the state mandates, the 19 topics that have to be covered.
Exactly.
So if you did something like that and it comes back with what the state requires, that's probably not going to rise to the level of plagiarism because, like you stated, it's a fact. If I asked you the benefit, or if I asked it the benefit of using AI, and then it spits out a paragraph of the benefits, which happen to be written by some professor at Cornell University, and it takes that answer and puts it in, and then I use that answer, am I copywriting his opinion?
Well, to coin a phrase that you use, definitely maybe.
because we don't know what AI is spitting out.
Well, and I think the difficulty that you're going to have, let's say that professor at Cornell,
Which we're making that
we're
up.
yeah, we have no idea. We're just throwing
It
that
could
out.
be anybody. It could just be another realtor in Utah that wrote an article about.
But they would
AI.
have to know specifically that it is being used and that it isn't being used in conjunction with other things. So while yes, it is probably plagiarizing, if it's pulling 3 sentences here and 5 sentences there and 6 sentences
Now
over
you're
there,
plagiarizing 2 or 3 people.
you are. But how do they ever know that you are because of the way that it's being put together?
I think that question you're asking, though, is not whether it's legal or not. It's
No.
whether they find out or not.
That's exactly it,
So
and that's the problem.
I mean, it leads us into a deeper rabbit hole.
Yeah.
How do you defend if you wrote an opinion that is now public facing on a blog, on a web page? How do you defend your opinion so that no one plagiarizes it? And the second half of that is, how do I, who is using that, defend myself so that I'm not plagiarizing?
Well, and I think the other difficulty you run into is what happens if you have the same opinion
Yeah.
and you come to the same conclusion anyway. So, I mean, it is a slippery slope, and it's kind of scary because you don't know what you're getting,
Yeah.
where it's coming from, or anything else. Well, it's useful. It is useful on a level that could open the door for bigger issues.
Yeah. Especially if someone that is using it as content creation is, and I'm going to say, unaware that it's plagiarized.
Well, then I think maybe we have to come down to the point where you would contact a lawyer and create a blurb that says this content was created with the use of AI. There is no intended or unintended plagiarism from using this. I mean, no different than when you get stuff like that on, TV shows or like the depictions in this film have no intent of being a real story, whether it's happened or not. Same type of thing where we may have to include something like that. Maybe you put that at the bottom. If you're doing, for example, blogs on a web page, maybe at the bottom you have to have fine print that says these blogs were created with the assistance of AI. There was no intended or unintended plagiarism involved.
That text was from Colin. He said to say hello.
Yes. The Great Dane is out walking.
The Great Dane is on his walk. Yeah, so does that mean now, like you said, I think plagiarism is the exact use of verbiage, not a practicing attorney. So if I have the same opinion and I write classes and I literally, if I truly am the content creator, then that wouldn't have to be out there. But I guess what you're saying is now down the road, if we use AI at all in any instance, you should have something that says this was not intended or this was generated using Chat GPT,
Yes.
blah, 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 blah. If you do that, does that lessen the credence of what you're teaching? I mean, there's a whole big world that is going to be problematic.
Well, yeah.
We just spoke to a guy a couple minutes ago, who said a friend of his yesterday went into Chat GPI and wrote a camp outline.
Yeah.
And put
Changed
it in GPI. It spit it out. He sent it to his boss and said, "Here's the outline you requested." And my question to that guy we talked to was, is his friend's job now in jeopardy? Because when the boss finds out that he can't actually do what he's paying this guy to do in 3 minutes, does he need that guy
Well, is he
anymore?
paying a scapegoat? Oh, well, this guy did this, and we found out that he did it the wrong way, and well, now he's fired. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't know if that would work for plagiarism.
I don't know either.
Not an attorney.
No.
We spoke to an attorney, and I suggested that this is going to be a new arm that the legal world is going to have to either fall on one side or the other, and maybe there's an attorney out there that is thinking about taking up the mantle of being the first AI attorney.
Maybe.
Whether it's plagiarized, and like you said, there's two sides to this. The guy sitting in Utah or Cornell, how does he defend and make sure it doesn't? And B, as the guy that used it, how does he defend himself about saying, well, hey, Chat GPT spit it out?
Well, here's another one for you. If you put enough opinion out there that's wrong, and it starts picking up on it, or not even wrong. Let's say,
first of all, opinions can't really be wrong.
Or let's do it this way. Let's say, and again, I'm not suggesting that this is real. I'm just saying I'm a stock trader. I want to have a bunch of stock purchased because I want to be over here. I want to sell this. If I put out enough information about that specific stock, and it starts picking up on it in Chat GPT, someone goes, what stock should I invest in? And that becomes one of the things that gets in there that they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Can you manipulate things by getting more information out there if all it is doing?
Well, I think disinformation is one way to manipulate it. Look at the Democratic Party.
Well, yeah.
That's how they do it anyway. So that's a whole other issue that I think you could do that just by blogging. Now, like you said, if ChatGPT sees enough of that, would they start picking it up?
Well, here's another scary
or
thing.
Facts that are wrong. Let's even go with that. Somebody said World War II was won by whoever.
Micronesia.
Yeah, Micronesia. And ChatGPT picked that up. Now, once again, I think I know enough about it that it would say, okay, here's 40 comments that say blue, sky is blue, and one comment where it says the sky is green. It might not use that because it doesn't fit. And maybe that's where the AI is actually generating that. But I think that there's still not enough known. This is just one issue. I mean, there's a whole bunch of issues in the real estate world. It talks about being able to help buyers identify better properties. I don't know how a computer could identify something better than the human that's asking it, what do I want? Because somehow it would have to put in the query what he wants. So the other question in the real estate world was brought up. What about fair housing issues? We know that there's a term called steering in the fair housing world, which is where you use one of the protected classes: race, color, religion, national origin, sex, marital status, and dependence. No, that's credit. Race, color, religion, national origin, sex, disability are the 7 protected classes. We know that we can't use that. Would a consumer A, know that, or B, care? I mean, the example that we talked about, somebody that was of the Jewish religion could put into this Chat GPT, I want to live in a Jewish community, and get an answer. That is technically a violation for us to do that. But a consumer, it's not a violation, but yet then they come to us and go, hey,
It's only a violation if you are licensed.
Yeah.
So if they come to you with all of that data, you're doing what they said to do. You didn't give it to them.
So there's the one out, I think, would be is if they came to us and said, based on my research of the Jewish community or Hispanic speaking or whatever, they said, I want to live at the corner of Main and State. We would have to take the fact of, okay, you told me a geographic location, Main and State, I can find that for you.
Yep.
That is not by nature a violation of the fair housing because they told us the location.
Yep.
If you're not licensed, the violation would be if they came and said, I want to live in a Spanish-speaking neighborhood, and we said, let's go to Main and State. That's the violation.
Well,
that's steering.
Here's the next thing. Whoever is running ChatGPT, let's say that starts taking off and people start doing it. How long before realtors get together and start saying, hey, they're practicing real estate without a license. They're telling them what to do, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they're doing this wrong. And then there's a class action lawsuit against that. I mean, there are so many different scenarios. Now, I think it'd be difficult to prove, but I mean, just because things are difficult to prove doesn't mean they're going to not pull up charges. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's other questions. It talks about the property management world, how AI will help management contracts. I have yet to figure out, or I've yet to find a website that says expressly how it would do that.
Well, I mean, it's the same
Does
thing
it
as
prioritize them?
it's no different than me saying a piece of paper and a pen will help making a contract.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, sorry about that, but that might have been a good thing to capture because it leads back to one of our previous videos about starting a business and the costs that get incurred. And this was a phone call about a domain that I'm interested in buying, but not at the price they offer.
No, and I think the person you talked to may have been artificially intelligent.
I laugh at that word too because I know a lot of people that are artificially intelligent. That think they're intelligent and are not.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with AI that is kind of scary to me a little bit, we have kids that are roughly the same age. I mean, you have some that are older, but we both have a child.
In my case, it's the youngest kid. In your case,
it's the only kid. Snapchat is so prevalent with kids that age right now. I mean, they don't even text each other. They snap each other. Well, Snapchat has embedded an AI in there. So these kids are sitting in a classroom with their phone out and asking Snapchat answers to things and doing that. Hey, Snapchat, I need 5 sentences about this subject. Boom. And it's pulling it up for them there, too. So, I mean, it is the wild, wild west.
I watched a commercial for a company called OpenAI that actually is using South Park, where he talks about, I get an email from my girlfriend, but I'm tired of responding. I can actually take her text, put it in OpenAI. It will respond to her text, and then I can just forward it back to her, so I'm not even having to
converse,
listen to his girlfriend. That was the point of the commercial. So you're right. Now they can just, I don't want to read that text. I'll put it in AI, and AI will generate an answer, and I'll send it back to them.
And I think the other weird thing to get our mind around is like, I had teachers that told me how calculators are cheating. You'll never have one with you all the time. So now that I have a phone that has a scientific calculator, at what point, there are fundamental things that people need to know. Don't get me wrong.
Like the sine of 90 degrees.
Yes. But, or a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Still remember that.
I know.
Still use it.
I actually used it.
I actually use it all the time.
When I was doing flooring, I used it all the time.
Carpenter, that's a very good equation.
That's still a fractional percentage of people. But the point I'm making is if you have the ability to know how to access the knowledge and get the knowledge and get the answer, do you need to store it within your brain if you know how to use it?
Well, supposedly, there's a quote, and I now use supposedly all the time. Einstein once said that genius wasn't knowing everything, but knowing where to find it.
Yep.
So let me ask you a question. As a former flooring expert, could I not now bypass you and just put the dimensions of my floor into ChatGPT, and it's going to figure what's the area of a room that measures
absolutely
this by bliss.
What you're paying a flooring expert for is knowing how much extra you need to be able to do things.
Well, but shouldn't need extra if you measure it correctly.
You will. But point being, the same way that we treat a computer, how many things do we shuffle off and put somewhere else or put in the cloud because we want the computer to maintain its integrity? How much do you need to store up here?
Well, another good example was one of the questions I asked OpenAI literally was, what are the steps in selling a home? And it literally spit out
everything,
about 14 steps that a home seller would need to do. And my question then, it goes back to, like the flooring expert, at what point is real estate not going to be a profession because it can now be found?
I agree to an extent with that, but also I could put in there, what are the steps I need to take to be an NFL quarterback? I can know every step. That doesn't mean I'll be good enough at it to do it.
That's true.
So there will always be a need for a professional, I think, but not in every situation.
I guess I don't know how to agree with that or disagree with that. Well, finally, we are being joined by the Great Dane,
He's going to walk right onto camera, I hope.
Has decided to join us today. So, yeah, I mean, is the professional needed in real estate? I mean, think about that. We are in the infancy of AI, and it told me every step I need. What happens when that AI, if it truly is growing, becomes teenage years? Would it get good enough that I don't need that professional now? Could it get that good? We're talking about AI.
Together with that,
Yeah.
teenage AI is probably going to be a pain in the ass.
Well, teenagers are a pain in the ass.
Oh, teenage AI.
I do think.
I'm sure you guys already said what we have now is kind of pseudo AI.
Well,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
where we
what
started.
We talked about that AI truly isn't thinking. It's not sentient like you see in the movies.
It can write papers and write things. And
It's going to become an extension. It's going to become a excellent tool, but I don't think it will ever overtake us.
It's like Google Plus right now. Instead of just searching for the best 10 things, it can write an article for the best.
Well, so let's answer what you just said. Slide rulers were a good tool,
And they still work.
but they have become overcome
Yeah.
with calculators. And then calculators have now, like you just mentioned, are starting to be overcome by ChatGPT.
Yeah, but you still have to put the information in to get the information out. And if you want it to be true AI, you don't have to put any information into it for it to give you what you want. Like, it should be a conversation just like we're having right now to get it. Right now, you still have to type in specifically what you're looking
read
for.
Your mind.
No, but it would be more
Well,
intuitive.
computers don't do that either.
No, but it will become more intuitive where you're having a conversation like we are right now, and it can join in the conversation.
You mean
It's
like
not
Alexa keeps giving me ads for stuff I talk about?
Well, there's a difference there. That's an advertisement. That's
But
not a
in
conversation.
understanding is what I'm talking about. I mean, people have said, does Alexa listen to you?
Yes.
I told my wife, and she laughed, and I laughed, and then Alexa laughed.
I think if we...
That was a joke.
It was... I heard it.
Tee-hee.
If I could tell AI to build me a website for Five Stones Mortgage, make it SEO, do this, that, charge my credit card for the domain, and it would produce that for me, then I would be a little more impressed.
I think that's what it'll be.
Eventually, but it's not there yet. So
That's-
I'm not
that's
that impressed yet.
That's the teenage AI.
So we have preteen AI now?
I think we
Well-
have infant AI.
Yeah.
It is going to be, to steal Marvel, it is going to be Jarvis. It isn't going to be the brain. It is going to be the engine.
Yeah.
You're still going to have fundamental knowledge of what you want
Now,
to be able to give it enough information to give you what you
we've
want.
kind of drifted to another topic, but I disagree with that.
Now, if you were a copywriter for real estate, you're probably in jeopardy right now.
That was our very first topic.
But you know,
And we've talked to an attorney today about this already. Copywriting, content creation, things of that nature could be problematic currently.
I heard AI was being used to write lawsuits. It can write a lawsuit, tell it the state, tell it the charges or whatever, and it will.
Well, yeah, it's a document. It can create a document. I mean, that Google can create a document.
Well, so you don't need a lawyer then.
You still need someone to argue when you go to court.
I'll throw my wife in there. She can do it.
His wife likes to argue.
Well, it's not semi AI.
It might be.
It might be.
It's MI. So we're talking about it in the real estate world currently, and how could it, now that you're here, do underwriting?
Oh yeah.
I mean, could a person, well, I mean, a consumer, what do I need, what documents do I need to submit to Colin to get my loan approved in 24 hours? And it could underwrite-esque something where it says you need 3 rolls, which is no different than what you tell them, because we found out that clients either A, lie or don't do what they're supposed, what you tell them to do.
Yeah, I think already algorithms dictate underwriting. You plug in everything, it checks the credit, does a formula, and then spits out a checklist. And all the modern underwriter does is check things off that checklist. Do they have a month of bank statements with $17,000? Click yes, all pages. Do they have a W-2 with 42,000 earnings?
Now, do you want me to be impressed with AI? AI should be able to just find it and not synact the question. When AI is able to just find the information when they look up that person,
Yeah.
then I'm impressed. But that also requires all of us to put all of our crap out there for everyone to get a hold of, which is also
it's
just
called
as scary.
online banking.
Well, it's also called the IRS.
I
But
think it's already out there.
yes,
Yeah.
If it can be, I don't know what cannot be scraped right now. I don't understand.
apparently when you have a bunch of
The only thing,
fake ballots,
the
those they
only
don't
thing
scrape.
it couldn't find, is the temperature of my ass in this chair right now.
And the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
What?
What?
And Hillary's 33,000 emails.
Yes, that was hidden in her closet
Well,
that she didn't know about.
Now that we're talking in circles, it is probably time to
Go to lunch.
go to lunch. But this will definitely be a topic that's coming up more and more.
Yeah, look, keep watching, because there's going to be several more of these about AI, and as it progresses, better or worse.
I don't think there's concern yet, but we should be curious.
I
and follow it.
think anybody that is truly reading AI should have a concern.
And I will tell you the other thing we're going to do. Raymond is going to be teaching a fabulous class about AI.
Yes.
Go to the description of this video. I'll put a link there. You can click a link and you can go to that class. It'd be well worth your time to come and
It's
listen.
actually geared towards the real estate world.
Yep.
So if you're a licensed agent or a real estate investor, having a class, I think it's August the 2nd
Yep.
of 2023, that might interest you. It's a 3-hour class.
I think even the mortgage people would enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's how AI is going to disrupt our industry to the extent of, are we going to lose professionalism, which is what Joe was talking about, and are we just now going to be marketing agents, which I think we're already halfway there now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think this might push us over the edge. Or will it kill it completely?
Well, tune in to find out.
Tune in more to find out.